There are so many wonderful cities in this world, and some of them have way overshadowed others. What will cities in the future be like is something exotic, but we can always foresee how they will look. You probably don't know that in our real life, cities that look like Asgard have already started to emerge. Let's make a trip to one of the most futuristic cities in the world. Welcome to Technology World. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon to never miss any updates on the upcoming technologies and all the event manifestations in the present and coming years. Cities used to develop in their own stride. Obviously, the location usually made significance, someplace secure, on a hill or an island, or somewhere near an extractable resource or the intersection of two transport routes. But for the most part, it was happenstance, fate, and layering the new on top of the old. Also, when someone asks you about China, you may think of the Great Wall, the Forbidden City, and their profound history. This time, however, we want to show you another side of China. This is a new China, a country furnishing itself with technology to be powerful, more unique, and brighter. And yes, the city we are going to is not Dubai or New York. Instead, it is Shanghai. The city of Shanghai is the best, symbolic, and modern city of China. High-rise buildings can be found almost everywhere in the city. One of the most populous cities in the world, Shanghai counts over 24 million people. As the city has grown rapidly, it had to readjust in order to put up with everyone. The knot of lustrously lit skyscrapers and tightly bunched towers that sweep across Shanghai make it one of the most stunning city views in the world. On the east side of the Hongpu River, there are three massive towers ascending into the sky. They form the world's highest super-tall building cluster. The most intriguing newcomer to the skyline is the 128-story Shanghai Tower, which became at the time the world's second tallest building when it was finalized in 2015. This futuristic new skyscraper glows green, then purple, then yellow, then red as it wriggles to a height of more than 2,000 feet, an exclamation mark on land that was ground down and farmland little more than 2 decades ago. The tallest tower in the cluster is the 632-meter-tall Shanghai Tower, which is also the world's second tallest skyscraper. Even the second tallest one, Shanghai World Financial Center in the building cluster, is almost taller than the tallest building in any other city in the world with the exception of Dubai, in which Shanghai World Finance Center can be the second tallest building if it's built there. Their unique glass skyscrapers shine in the day and their amazing bright lights are quite a sight at nighttime. They have constructed a massive financial center that is one of the leading world economic centers. They also created the Pudong Economic Zone, which caters to overseas investments. Since their great success in soaking up overseas capital, it has produced even more economic development in Shanghai. That in turn created jobs for their local people, so they use their local resources instead of looking to import manpower. As Shanghai goes on to generate such science fiction-worthy architecture, it's no wonder that its presence has come to double as the future in films, such as the Academy Award-winning Her and the Bruce Willis blockbuster Looper. Shanghai has a one-stop public service program for citizens, Citizen Cloud. At present, 104 public services have been provided on the platform, covering 6 categories. These contain personal information, medical and healthcare, transportation, social security, community life, and tourism and leisure, with more than 7.6 million citizens enrolled on the platform. And when exploring at street level, one swiftly passes from neon-painted streets, home to hundreds of clubs, restaurants, and temples, to alluring, though sadly perishing, Shukimen buildings, which are a traditional Shanghainese architectural style that mixes Western elements with Chinese elements. And the arresting riverside of the Bund, filled with a remarkable collection of Beaux-Arts, Romanesque Revival, Neoclassical, and Art Deco architectures, all with outstanding views of the glitzy Luyaizui financial district across the river. The food is also amazing in Shanghai, with highlights including steamed crab, eel noodles, delicious xiaolongbao soup dumplings, and Shanghainese mooncakes that are traditionally served only during the Mid-Autumn Festival. Shanghai has also built a framework for traffic normalization comprising an extensive road traffic information service, a public transportation information service, and a public parking information service. More than 1,600 LCD screens and more than 1,700 solar electronic station signs have been assembled at bus stops in the city, from which passengers are notified of the actual arrival times of buses. In the future, passengers will be able to pay for subway tickets by engaging with their faces. In the field of the smart economy, cloud computing, big data, artificial intelligence, and other related industries are becoming the focus of development normalization in Shanghai. Planning for Shanghai's future began in earnest in the late 1980s, with a vision and a potency unmatched in urban history. Georges Eugène Haussmann's mid-19th century remake of Paris might come closest. But even that enormous and rapid urban transformation pales in comparison to the past 30 years in Shanghai. All Robert Moses' megalomaniac visions for New York would not even make the scorecard. Shanghai is accumulating at the rate of 700 to 800,000 people a year. Toronto, the fastest rising urban region in Europe and North America, is growing by only 100 to 125,000 a year. London and New York are far slower. If current mania continues, 1 billion people will live in China's cities by 2025. In that short time, the country will add a new urban population bigger than the current population of the United States. Those new citizens will be migrants from the Chinese hinterland, and the plurality will be living in one of the country's 23 cities with a population greater than 5 million, of which 8 will have populations of more than 10 million. Shanghai will be the largest. There has never been urbanization of this hierarchy in the history of the world. All of the world's great cities are striving to cope with growth, and generally speaking, they have no idea how to provide reasonable integrity of urban life to newcomers in such numbers. Yet, in a highly inadequate profession, Shanghai provides perhaps the best example of mega-scale urban planning that works. What is also different about Shanghai's plans is that they work. The city, already twice as overgrown as New York and London, and 4 times as thick as Toronto, has put itself in a position to accomplish one of the most difficult feats for such a dynamic metropolis, which is to stop tumbling and adapt all its millions of newcomers within the current city boundary. That is why the carefully developed, remarkably broad grid of transit lines is so important. It provides a strong, flexible structure to transmit the population that is coming. Although ratios of car ownership are still very low, about 1/6 that of the United States, so the challenge is to see if, in the face of rapidly growing incomes and goals, China can skip a whole generation of auto-based urban growth and create the world's largest postcard city. That would be a bounty to the world, and Shanghai will need to do it. Air pollution, worsened by the city's marshy maritime location, has a discernible presence. However, Shanghai has another benefit in China. It is unique to great commercial cities, an ability to experiment and take risks, giving flexibility elusive to the other Chinese megalopolises. It is not the capital, Beijing, where a surplus of government power seems to have restricted its urbanity. It is not Hong Kong, whose controversial governmental status and business culture could constrain its influence. And it is not Shenzhen, or another of the instant cities that have developed in China in the past 3 decades. A city with a vibrant trading culture and a long sense of itself, it will make its history. There is a fine Chinese proverb, of which Shanghaiers are fond. The mountains are high and the emperor lives far away. Cities now may be more influential than countries. A trip to this destination nowadays may rewrite your idea of the future, and for now, we've grasped some of the most surreal scenes of Shanghai. Let everyone know what you think about this futuristic city, and do you think there could have been another name to this title? Well, let us know in the comments below. And most importantly, if you want to be updated on every single theme related to the future, then you should consider subscribing to the channel and pressing the bell icon. See you in the next one. Until then, peace.